Hello, hello, hello. Come on in the room. Hey. Come on in the room. Hey. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you everyone that's tuning in. We're gonna get started. I decided to hop on here a little bit early, just so I can get some people invited. But we are starting at 12:30. Hey, Nicole, I see you, boo. I'm gonna go ahead and invite some people, and thank you for tuning in. Make sure you share it out to your village, your people, your family, your support, your friends, your network, and tag somebody else who might need to hear this message. You might be needing that inspiration and that encouragement. Today we are talking about kicking fear out. Boop, giving it to boot, because it don't belong here. Period. Amen. And let me know if you can hear me, because I have my fan going, so I'm a little bit hot. A little bit loud hot. Alrighty. So without further ado, we got actually 60 seconds. So I want to give people a chance to hop on who may not have gotten the notification or gotten the message that I am here. So that's 0. All right, everyone. So it is officially 12:30. It is time to teach, time to learn. But before we start this, I want to open us up in prayer, and then I will begin today's message or today's teaching. So, Father God, we thank you, Father God, for being the head of our life, for being the Omega, the Alpha, the provider, Jehovah Jireh. I thank you personally for allowing me to be able to use my platform, my voice, my creativity, my creative content to inspire hope, to inspire change, to help those who start to break the cycles and start to heal and be healed and healed again. Father God, thank you for today's message. I thank you for being able to wake up today and being able to be poured into so that I may pour out into others. I thank you in Jesus' name, amen. Alrighty, so we are here, and today's message is kick fear out, shifting your focus. But before we get into the message, let me introduce myself. So my name is Listiner Inspires. I am an award-winning author, international speaker, healing and recovery accountability coach and expert that specializes in trauma, as well as the founder and creator of Healing is a Journey, which is a quarterly series of conferences that are designed to help those who've gone through trauma and abuse learn how to live their best healed life by providing tools, support, resources, and solutions. And then I mentioned I'm also an actress. Oh, I did not. I was featured in a documentary this year called Help Me Help My Son. I was just reminded of that by my PR. I'm like, I need to start saying that. Yay. So thank you those who have tuned in. I blessings to you. I don't take your time lightly, and I value your time, and I value you as well. And so today the teaching comes from my best-selling book, Kick Fear Out, which is one of a 4-part journal book series in the Healing is Journal book series. You can get this book, which is actually $12.95 normal. You can get this book free when you purchase your Healing is a Journey conference webinar ticket that's happening next Saturday, June 20th at 12 noon Central Standard Time. The link is in the caption, so you can either get more information about it, you can look up some of the last conference, you can see more about it, and ticket pricing as well. So I wanted to just kind of quickly throw that out there, but I also wanted to start teaching. So today I'm going to be reading from page 10 of the book. If you don't have the book, you can listen along. If you do have the book, open it up, page 10. And this is going to be a short, sweet, simple, but very powerful message today. I'm going to start reading. Where your focus and faith lie, your life will follow. We'll drop the mic, keep it going. So, where your focus and faith lie, your life will follow. So, as you know, we're talking about fear and how to kick it out of your life because it really has no place in that, right? So, when you think about your focus, for instance, when you first wake up in the morning, what is the first thing that you think about? Are you thankful that you're able to wake up? Are you cognitive and conscious of your breath, your limbs moving, your blood flowing? 9 times out of 10, we don't lay there and think, ooh, my blood is flowing, my limbs are moving, I'm breathing. It's just you wake up and you start your day, right? But a lot of times, how we start our day is how the day continues. I'm going to give you an example. This morning I woke up and I wasn't really feeling good, physically or emotionally. I was just exhausted, tired, and so I knew I needed to shift the atmosphere. I needed to shift my focus because I have a lot of stuff to do today. And so I usually start off with my cup of coffee and my devotional time with God. And I really didn't feel like just sitting and just being still. I needed to get out and get fresh air, but I also wanted to have a conversation with God. And so I started journaling. Hey, Raquel, thank you for tuning in. I started to journal. And in the journal, I'll just share one bit of it. I was like, thank you, God, for waking me up. I'm really not feeling well today. I'm just really emotional. I'm feeling tired, just nauseated. I'm just so over, this chemotherapy and the side effects. And I'm not having a good day. That's what I wrote. And then I quickly went back and drew a line through day and wrote, I'm not having a good moment. Why did I do that? Because I needed to shift how my day could possibly go into how I needed to go. We have moments, right? We have moments where we don't feel good, where certain situations causes us to feel a certain way, whether it's stress, whether it's fear, whether it's anxiety, whether it's just you just having a bad day or a moment. Let me say moment. And I had to remember and remind myself, like, Listiner, if you say this now, then it means you're trying to say the rest of your day is going to be not so good. And day has just begun. So I quickly shifted that. That was one thing I did. I had to reshift my focus. Okay, I'm not feeling good in this moment. What can I do to turn this moment around so that the rest of my day will be greater and better than how I feel in this moment? I did a few things. I continued to talk to God. I thank you, Raquel, for tagging Ms. Johnson. I continued to talk to God, but I got dressed and I went outside to take a walk. I love walking. Walking for me is therapeutic, especially now on this journey of healing and recovery. Walking helps me to clear my mind physically because I'm not able to get back in the gym just yet, and so it's just really good. As you hear me always say, health is wealth. Well, walking is a way to keep my mind and my body healthy. And so as I get ready to get ready to go walk, I see that it's cloudy. I'm like, oh, it's about to start raining. And I don't mean like a little bit of cloud. I mean like heavy, rain cloud. And I'm like, I'm just going to take a walk anyway. I need this because I have the radio show earlier. I have my teaching. And then later on, I have a meet and greet with my amazing speakers and ambassador and all that for the Healing is a Journey. So I have a lot to do today, and I need to be in my most it's a word right now, the best performance or the best state of mind physically and mentally I can be, and walking is what I need. And so I put on my workout gear, had my fanny pack, shoved my little mini umbrella in it, and I walked in spite of what the clouds looked like. It started to, shower, bust out the umbrella, and kept walking and took my walk. And usually I listen to music. I said, no, I need to hear God. I need to hear you. And I need to just allow God to minister to me. And I said, I have to teach today, and I don't feel well, but I need to bring forth my best message because this is what you've called me to do. And I walked, and I came home, took a bath and lavender, and got myself together. What did I do there? I shifted how I was feeling or how I could have felt throughout the day to a more positive perspective, right? How does that apply if you're facing fear? Well, you could be afraid of something, and when you learn how to shift how you look at it, right? Learning how to shift is so important. You're literally telling that thing that it has no control over you. I talked about yesterday the fear I had of dying when I got my diagnosis of cancer, and I was afraid to sleep most nights. And I started to shift how I saw that. If God brought me to this, He's gonna bring me through it. Right? And oftentimes we say that, but do we believe it? And so I had to believe it in that moment. And in those moments where my anxiety would try to tell me that my shortness of breath, I might not wake up. This chemo, the side effects is really severe. I don't know if I could do this. Let me tell y'all a little secret. Second round into the chemo, I was ready to say, I don't want no more chemo. I'm just gonna not deal with this. And that's my honest truth, because how I was feeling. Right now, mind you, reality is I can't just not go to chemo. That's part of my treatment plan. But I thought about it. I was like, no, I don't want to. This is how I feel every time. I don't know if I can do 2 more rounds of this. But I knew that wasn't reality and that wasn't beneficial to my health. But these are real things that come up when anxiety tells you certain things, right? But when you learn how to shift where your focus goes, and you learn how to shift your faith, meaning increasing it and not decreasing it by focusing on that worry and that anxiety, you're literally changing the trajectory of your life. You might not notice it in that moment, but you are. I have a praise report. Last night I slept. I usually turn the TV on to distract my mind so I can fall asleep. I turned the lights off. I had the windows open, breeze going through all the windows, and I just went to sleep. And I was so blessed by being able to do that in this season of my life. And that is a testimony to learning how to shift my focus, to not every night think about, like, am I going to wake up? How am I going to feel? I cannot control the side effects that I have, but I can control how I allow them to make me feel on any given day. I can either let anxiety control my day and have me create a schedule around my anxiety and my fears, or I can create the life that I want. And anxiety and fear make no room for it to have a place in our life. It will try to creep in. Let's be realistic. It happens, but we have the authority through Christ Jesus to be able to speak to that thing and say, no, you have no place here. And shift it by simply speaking the opposite of what you're hearing. By simply saying, instead of saying, I'm having a bad day, like I told you guys, I'm not having a good day, I shifted it and said, no, I'm not having a good moment. Acknowledging that this moment, it doesn't have to be a day. It can be this moment, and let me do what I need to do to get this moment together so I can come on with my day that has been ordained by God. And so the definition of focus, right, is the center or the center of interest or activity. So the center of something, right? So if anxiety, imagine this is like my 2 hands, right? This whole is anxiety, or this whole is the center of your life. And what you fill it with can stretch you to capacity, or it can shrink you down. So if you fill it with faith in God, God is a full God. He's an omnipotent God. He is everywhere. And faith has the capacity to expand in a great way. So you're expanding and being filled with more faith and more of which you are focusing on, then nothing but goodness and greatness shall follow that. I mean, you'll have things that'll come along the way, because as you live, things will happen. But it's that positivity or expansion of faith that will keep, as you grow and grow, keep you from breaking. Now, imagine this is filled with anxiety. Anxiety is crushing. It's debilitating. It's negative. It's dark. It makes you feel like you can't do anything. It limits you. So, even though you're expanding, you're weakening too. You're just, and so what consumes you is something that's not going to grow you, right? And so I want you to imagine, just every time you are faced with something that causes you worry, stress, or anxiety, ultimately those are the 3 cousins of fear. to think about filling that with faith. How can you do that? How do you shift your faith? How do you shift your focus? I told you how I shifted my focus, right, by rewording what I was saying and strategically finding things that will pour into me so that I wouldn't feel how I was feeling, or I will eventually feel better, right? Well, there's three ways that you can shift your faith or shift your focus from fear to faith. One is center your mind. It starts in the mind. So a man believeth, so he is. How we perceive things, how we see ourselves is eventually how we will start to act, how we will start to live our lives, right? So if you can just shift your mindset for a minute and say, or center your mind on the things of goodness, things that you remember from the past that were good. Now, if you don't have any positive memories or any positive to replay or to think about, then that's something that's of concern. Because even if life is down and even if life has happened to us in the most devastating of ways, there's always a glimmer of hope. We just have to be willing to look for it. We have to be willing to look past the things that are not so hopeful and so positive and look for that glimmer of hope. I could have ran a long list of things of how I felt this morning and why I was not going to do any of the things I need to do, right? From not feeling well to being nauseated to being in pain to being tired. I could have ran a whole list of things. I mean, and I would have been justified because I'm healing right now. And that's my testimony. Not telling anybody else to push through certain things, but my testimony is that certain things that I do is purposeful and is ordained by God. So I had to look at it like I'm gonna push past that in order to do what I need to do. And I'm going to center my mindset on something more positive, like, okay, though I don't feel X, Y, and Z, I still woke up this morning. I was able to move around. I'm not dizzy. So I'm looking at the brighter side of things to shift my mindset so that I can start to shift my focus and my faith away from things that will produce anxiety to things that will produce more of a positive attitude and mindset. So that's one thing. The second thing is you're centering your mindset by shifting it, which actually shifting should go on first, but we gonna act like that didn't just happen. But really, if you center something, you're shifting it. So that's a two-part thing, because in order to center it, it means they had to be shifted in the first place, right? So you're shifting where your mind goes, and you're shifting it to center it. So that's a 1-2 knockout punch, right? Now that you've shifted and centered, now you need to surround yourself with reminders, which I just spoke about. Me, for me, I have like post-its everywhere, and I have scriptures that I have reminders set on my phone that remind me to give myself grace, which for me is rest. If I don't have to do all the things all at once, grace. I have reminders to tell me that this is not the end, meaning that I will not die. I should live. I will live, and when I get through this, there's greater on the other side. I have reminders that tell me, to rest. It is okay to rest. And so setting reminders, whatever your struggle is when it comes to anxiety or fears, set reminders around your house on your phone that remind you the opposite of what anxiety is trying to tell you. So if your anxiety may be, you don't want to go outside because of COVID-19, even though maybe out in your area they've opened up outside where social distancing is, you're not being quarantined, but there's there's requirements, but you're not quarantined, but you're scared to go outside. Start putting reminders like, okay, I will go outside safely, wear a mask, hand sanitizer, or I will live and not die. I will feed my body the things that it needs to build up my immune system. There are so many ways that we can remind ourselves the opposite of what anxiety and fear is trying to tell us. So with that being said, if faith is a mindset and where our mind goes, our actions follow, then that will also mean that faith is our GPS. And so if we allow faith to guide us, it will always steer us away from fear. It will always steer us away from fear. Why? Because God did not instill the spirit of fear in us. He gave us a sound mind, power, and love. And so when fear comes to us, we have to tell it, like, you have no place here. You don't belong here. and allow. Okay, things are falling out my window because of the wind. I'll address that later. And allow faith to steer you away from that anxiety. Last but not least, faith is a life changer and ultimately a game changer. When you start to shift your mindset, shift your focus, shift your faith, you start to make faith the center of everything. Anxiety won't have much room to really dictate your life. Then your life will start to change. You will start to take positive steps to do things that maybe you didn't do last year or even yesterday because you're shifting. You're shifting. And as you shift, the view changes, right? That view you had with anxiety was one of limit. They had limits, right? But now as you're shifting, the view is like, I can do this. I'm going to try that. What about that? I think I'm going to do that too. So now your life is changing for the greater. Ultimately, how you perceive what you want for your life is going to change. Because a lot of times when we struggle with fear and anxiety, we limit our life and we sometimes plan things to accommodate fear and anxiety. Most of us won't admit to that because we do it subconsciously. But it happens. I can tell you that certain things, like I mentioned before when driving, if I was invited somewhere, I would look at the distance and see, like, do I really want to go there? Is it like an investment? Like, how far is the drive on the expressway? Now I'm more like, okay, let me see the time limit. Let me see if I got to pack snacks, whatever the case may be. The more my faith is growing and shifting, the less room anxiety has, the less I plan things out based on what my anxiety might tell me, and I'm planning things out based on what my faith has told me, which is that I am living a life with power, with love, with sound mind. I'm living a limitless life because that's my God. God has put no limits on us. And so I want to encourage you, start to really think about where your mind is. Start to think about where your faith is. Start to look at where your focus is, right? What are your first thoughts in the morning? What are the first things you think about when things don't go your way? What's your first thoughts? And start to shift that. Start to be more conscious and not subconscious. More conscious about what you're saying to yourself, what you're writing, what you're speaking out loud, what you're believing. Start to shift that and watch how your view changes. Watch how your view changes from limited with fear to limitless with faith. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love you all. Make sure you catch the replay if you tune in late. Make sure you share it out. Have a blessed and amazing day. Remember to be bold, be unashamed, and most importantly, be you. Love you.